Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Two Plane Sports. Today is a day that does not suck, as the T-shirts do say. We are previewing the Iowa State Oklahoma game this weekend. So another game day in Norman. That does not suck. Would you say so, Brandon?
It doesn't suck at all. Shirt says it all, baby.
For
Get your
sure.
shirts, boys and gals and viewers and everybody else.
Yeah, so if you missed our live stream, it was just the Jose and Brum show, but we revealed that we have some shirts. They're linked in the description below. Be sure to go down there. Short sleeve, I think, is $24. Long sleeve is $27, I want to say. So if you haven't already ordered it, go down there. I think they've got like a 5-6 day turnaround, somewhere in there, about a week. So go do that. It's a local business. Support local business, and that, and I guess you're supporting us too. I mean, double whammy, right?
Double local business.
Double local business, baby. Also, I want to just bring this up real quick before we get started on the actual show, because I watched a little bit of the live stream because I had to miss it. Taylor Swift being at the Chiefs game is a big deal. You guys didn't seem to think it was a big deal, and she is going back again this Sunday for the Jets game. So she really is putting Travis Kelce on the map. I'm a Swiftie, Brum. You said you weren't. That's ignorant, but I think it's awesome.
No, I'm not saying I don't like any Taylor Swift songs. I think it's a little ridiculous how much of a following where people are like,
dude, she has a cult-like following.
It's I know.
Crazy.
Clearly.
I think it was I think it was Bussin' with the Boys. They were talking about joking around, obviously, like, did she really put Travis on the map? And Taylor said, Taylor Lewan was like, no, like, he's got to be bigger than her. The NFL has to have a bigger following. And Will was like, I don't know, man, because, like, if you just go off social media following, which it does hold a decent amount of weight in today's, in the era we live in, the NFL has, like, 70-something million followers. Taylor has 270-something.
Oh, I'm not saying that she's big time. Or that she's not big time. I just didn't realize how many people cared about, like, protecting her and judging who she's like. It's a little much.
Although Travis needs to tread lightly, because if he screws this up at all, there's gonna be a song.
Maybe that's gonna be good for him, though. I mean, putting him even more on the map, right?
Put him more on the map, baby. But then all the Swifties will hate him. He'll have 270 million people ready to tear his face off.
Yeah, I think it's just more of every time I get on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, all I see now in my suggested talking about Taylor Swift. I'm like, oh my god.
Bigger on TikTok. I don't know if you get on that talk at all, but she's all over my feed.
Imagine that. So you're a Swiftie. So I guess you're more of a Swiftie fan than Taylor, Travis Kelce.
100%.
Well, I guess Taylor could do better. He could have the the best tight end ever to play football in Gronk, but she'll settle for second. So
I don't know. I think Kelce's the best. But that's okay. Just had to get that off. Taylor Swift's the GOAT. Now we can roll forward.
Anyway, all right. Well, I'm sure someone will comment, be like, enough with the Taylor Swift talk. Let's actually talk some Oklahoma football. So, but before we do, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below, as our shirts are too. And every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Central Time, we go live to talk Oklahoma football, general college football, just hang out. And Brandon should be able to make the next show. I won't be on Tuesday's live stream, so it's just going to be the Brandon and Hose show. So some of you will be fist pumping that I won't be there, and that'll be good. So Iowa State, Oklahoma. Iowa State's coming to town off of their big win against the little brothers up north from us, 34-27. 34-27, sorry. Off their big win, they improved to 2-2. They're coming to town, play Oklahoma, was 4-0, coming off of a 20-6 win against Cincinnati. Jose, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this game? Expectations? I mean, I think we all think Oklahoma will and should win this game.
Yeah, Oklahoma will definitely win, in a little sneak peek into the betting segment of the end of the show. I believe they'll cover, so they'll win very comfortably. The line actually moved a ton. I placed my actual bet early in the week, and they opened as 17.5 point favorites. It's up to 19.5. So that's just how much people are starting to believe. And the book is starting to shift a little bit. Regardless of gambling and the spread and all that, Oklahoma should win big. To me, this isn't going to be so much a test of, so with the offense, a test of if their running game will be good, but how bad is the running game actually? Because Iowa State kind of has let every team run against them well. The pass game, on the other hand, could get challenged. Their defensive backs are actually decent. And the defense itself for Oklahoma shouldn't have too much to worry about. Offensively, they're pretty thin when it comes to talent and depth. They had a lot of guys that ended up getting suspended with that gambling scandal at the very beginning of the year, which is kind of ironic since I was just talking about gambling, so they might be tuned in as well. And I mean, we'll see. Matt Campbell, I don't know if he's going to be on the hot seat at the end of the year. We kind of talked about it on Tuesday's live stream. I don't think that the outcome of this game could hurt him. The only thing it could do is help him if he plays even somewhat competitively against Oklahoma, especially this Oklahoma team. But they're also going to put up a fight. Last time Oklahoma was very, very good, probably with the Baker Mayfield team in 2017, we lost to them in Norman. So this isn't the same team as that 2017 team, because as we know, that 2017 team could not play defense to save their lives. This one can, fortunately, and they have a good offense. So as long as they look like they did against Tulsa and against Arkansas State and even against SMU, they'll be fine. You know, the run game just can't look like it did against Cincinnati, because that was a bad showing.
Yeah, that Iowa State team in 2017 was also better than the Iowa State team we're playing on Saturday, I think. You know, in 2017 they weren't great. They finished 8-5, but they had some guys, they had some talent. They weren't so bad. Iowa State this year is they have one of the worst offenses in the country. I think it ranks number 111, 112, somewhere in that ballpark, in that vicinity. You've got teams like Bowling Green and Akron who have a better offense, according to the stat sheet, than Iowa State. So, you know, offensively, I don't think Oklahoma should get pushed around too much, should have too much of a test on their hands this weekend. You got to play the game, obviously, but they're not a very good offense. They looked pretty decent this weekend against Oklahoma State. I think their quarterback had 350 yards, 3 touchdown passes, no picks. But that is against the worst team in the league in Oklahoma State this year. There's no doubt about it. They are the loser of that game was the worst team in the Big 12, I think, and Oklahoma State won the prize. So congratulations to Oklahoma State on that. Iowa State's leading rusher has 126 yards. We've got 3 guys on the team. As much as the running game has been brought up this season for Oklahoma, and I agree, it's not the strongest point of the team right now, but we've got 3 guys who matched Iowa State's leading rusher. Their leading receiver has 202 yards. We've got 3 guys who are over that number. I think Drake Stoops is just behind it at like 170, 175. So like we statistically on paper match up very well against this team, but it should be a comfortable win. Defensively, they're sound, they're solid, but with an offense that bad, I think Oklahoma is going to get them off the field early and often, and I think their offense will be on the field a lot. And at some point, their defense will be on the field a lot, and it can't hold forever. I expect Oklahoma to score a lot of points, win pretty easily.
And, you know, their defense, when you think of Iowa State, you think more of their defense than anything because of Matt Campbell. And then also I think of Iowa State coming to play Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has, in recent memory, not under this staff, has struggled with Iowa State and have dropped a game or 2 here or there. But when you think of that Iowa State defense, they did give up the most points they have all season to Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State's offense only managed 7 points against South Alabama. And, you know, I know by that logic, taking a game and by another game and a result of another game, you know, the logic there isn't really sound. But if Oklahoma State only scores 7 points against South Alabama and then they score 27 against you, are you worse than South Alabama statistically? I mean, I know it's not apples to apples, but and then you only scored 7 points against Ohio, and I know that they got hosed a little bit with a field goal, it looked like. But Oklahoma should be able to handle Iowa State comfortably. They should. Whether they do, that's just going to be a test if they can get up for that game and not look ahead to Texas. That's my biggest concern. Is I think Jose said on the live stream that he doesn't believe in trap games and things like that and getting caught looking ahead. I do, and I'm not saying this team will, but I do wonder if this team comes out a little sluggish in the beginning of the game and kind of wake up and be like, "Oh, we gotta actually play." And that's my only concern because across the board, as you listed, Brandon, all the statistics, Oklahoma has better players. They're more athletic, just like Cincinnati. I mean, they are on paper the better team and should win comfortably and at home.
I also believe in trap games, but I think for some reason this is weird and it doesn't hold any weight. But it's just a theory I have. If it were an 11 a.m. game, I think we are more susceptible to it, to being caught, being trapped, or whatever. I think the fact that it's a primetime game, 6 o'clock under the lights, they'll be doing all the cool light show and stuff. I think the boys will show out. I don't think we get caught this week.
Yeah, the reason I don't believe in them is because if you're a good team, you're not looking forward to the next one. If you're a team that can win a championship game, especially with the college football playoffs and how they are now, if you get caught looking ahead, you're going to lose early. So this week, while it's not important on the result, because I think we'll all agree Iowa State doesn't pose a big threat to Oklahoma, if you have to win convincingly, because that's basically what's holding Oklahoma back from looking like a championship level team. When you've played a good team, you haven't won or not even a great team, a decent team, Cincinnati and SMU. They haven't looked amazing, more so on the offensive side. And Iowa State, well, again, we've said it now, all of us, their offense is not going to pose a big threat to Oklahoma, at least how they've looked in the first 4 games. Their defense is what could challenge OU a little bit, especially if OU gets out to a slow start offensively. That could, if they don't look like the OU of the Tulsa and Arkansas State game, then that's when maybe a little bit of doubt starts to creep in. You got to win and win convincingly against Iowa State. Then, start preparing for Oklahoma or for the Texas game. I know a lot of people like to think that you don't open up the playbook in the first 4 or 5 games. I don't really think going into the Iowa State game, like the playbook isn't going to expand a ton more between Iowa State and Texas. What the playbook is, it's about execution. Can the offensive line block in the run game? Are the receivers going to stay consistent in how they've been through the first 4 weeks? Dylan Gabriel, is he going to stay healthy and look the same? Defensively, important thing, stay healthy. The injury bug has really hit him with some of the starters. Justin Harrington, his status is still up in the air. I mean, Desan McCullough is finally back, but hopefully, that stays the same. You just gotta hope that at the end of this weekend, at the end of Saturday's game, everyone is healthy. They're able to roll out some of the backups, maybe mid-third quarter, so that you can get them some snaps, for just in case situations and get them some experience. And just start preparing for Texas.
I mean, I was going to say the exact same thing as my last point. I think you hit it on the head there. Defensively, this team is giving up 8.5 points a game, tied for second in the country in terms of scoring defense. They've looked solid, sound great in every single game this season. And they should. Granted, these opponents we played have been not as good as us on paper, and they're playing the way they should against teams that they should dominate. And defensively, they have. But, Arkansas State on offense, you put up 70. Against Tulsa, you put up 66. And then you go to the SMU game where you drop 28, but you get 2 touchdowns really late in the game to make it 28. And then Cincinnati, I think you leave a lot of points on the board in that game where you kick two red zone field goals, and then you have 1 red zone just turnover where you get nothing out of it on the DG keeper where he lost the ball and Cincinnati recovered. So against the 2 decent teams they played offensively this season, you put up 28 and 20. I agree, Jose. That's something you want to see change. You want to see 35, 40 points against Iowa State. If Oklahoma can go out there and score 41 points, whatever, 35 points, and the defense plays the way they should, and you walk out with a 35-6 win, 35-7 win, I think you're feeling really, really good about your chances going into Red River.
And, talking about Oklahoma. I mean, obviously, Oklahoma's offense is a concern, and I mean, I don't think they're holding anything back, and I think they will be better this week. I mean, they're at home; they should be comfortable. They should be. This should be a tune-up game to get ready for Texas. But as far as the defense, the wide receiver that's the leading wide receiver for Iowa State is Jalen Knoll, and Jalen Knoll, while he has 202 yards, he actually put that all together. Most of his stats came from last week, where he had 8 catches for 146 yards and 1 touchdown. So of his 202 yards, it came against 146 of them came against Oklahoma State last week. He has played well against Oklahoma. Last year's matchup, he had 7 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. Smaller guy, he's like 5'10", 5'11". He's got some good speed. That's their number one guy. And again, can Woody Washington neutralize him? Because it seemed like Iowa State started scoring more points as soon as Knoll kind of emerged. And it kind of seems that that's the key. And that was Rocco's, I guess, security blanket. That's who he goes to. So if you can take his number one go-to away, I think you can really limit that Iowa State offense big time. And it seems like it's a good correlation. I know it's one game, but to me, it makes a lot of sense. You take the number one wide receiver away. I don't know if there's enough talent to really keep up with Oklahoma as far as scoring goes.
Muted.
My bad. This thing is sensitive sometimes. Overall, the game shouldn't be close. It's kind of surprising that the line isn't bigger. I'm not sure if it's because the book and the public still doesn't believe Oklahoma is as good as they could be, and or they just believe in Iowa State way too much, because Iowa State hasn't shown that they can compete against what Oklahoma's done so far. It's more so Oklahoma's their own worst enemy, especially on the offensive side. Because last week we saw Jeff Lebby went back to his old bad habits from last year, where the offense only had the ball for maybe a minute 30 for a couple of drives, and then forced the defense back on quickly. For when the offense looked good, they were able to maintain possession. It was more even time of possession wise, and sometimes Oklahoma was winning there, where they were able to keep the opposing defense on the field a little bit longer. But you can't have those kind of situations when you're playing a good team. You can't give them the opportunity to just wall out our defense and gas them.
Jeff Lebby, sometimes I feel like he can't get out of his own way. But at the end of the day, Oklahoma's offense, statistically speaking, is one of the top offenses in the country. It's hard to be perfect, and it's easy for us to sit here and correct them. But if they don't score more than 20 points against Iowa State, you got issues, because Oklahoma State was able to put up 27. And I think Oklahoma will throw 40 up this weekend. They're going to have to if they're going to cover that spread. Because, I think Iowa State probably scores 17 is my guess. I think it's going to be like a 41-17 kind of game. Because I just think Iowa State, Matt Campbell will have them ready to play. And I think it's going to be a little they're going to be a little sluggish in the beginning. And then Oklahoma will pull away in that third and fourth quarter after halftime, make some adjustments, and they'll be good. So that's a preview to the betting segment, but I've got OU minus 19.5, minus 20, whatever it is now.
I think we all do here, yeah.
The run game. Who's the running back? That's also a question. Is it Marcus Major again? Is it Tawi Walker? Is it going to be one of the younger guys in Javonte or Gavin? At this point, I don't think it's going to be Gavin's time for a while, just because they haven't really given him enough opportunity through 4 weeks. But who knows? They've also...
Do you guys see Gavin Sawchuk's dad's tweet last week or whatever it was?
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it is... One thing that's interesting is we've recruited everyone's younger brother except for Gavin's so far. Because I think Gavin's younger brother is class of 2025. I'd have to check. But he's not someone that we talk about much when it comes to the recruiting front. Maybe it's because he's not a super highly rated guy, but you'd assume they at least have a spot for him with, the preferred walk-on spot with NIL basically covering his cost for school.
Yeah. I think that Tolly Walker, and I think I said on the live stream, I think it's going to be the Tolly Walker and Marcus Major show. I think in Big 12 play, I think that's their current plan. Is I think those are 1 and 2. I think that's what they're rolling with. I would not be surprised if we don't see much of Barnes or Sawchuk. I think they've made their decision on their number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, it looks that way.
So we will see. And there's a reason why they get paid the big bucks to make these coaching decisions and why we're not there. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, and they obviously know better. So let's move on to the betting segment. Last week I went 2-2-2 for an overall record of 8-14-2 now. Jose, what are you?
I went 2-5-1, and I'm now 18-25-1. It's a tough week.
Yeah.
I picked 7 games last week to try to break the 500 streak I've been on. That was 6-6 entering the week, and I went 3-3-1. So I remained 500, 9-9-1 on the season. I can't break it.
You got to play the numbers game, boys.
Yeah. So, so obviously, if you're trailing me and Jose, you're doing pretty well, especially myself. I've already alluded to, and I think we're all in an agreement. We've got OU minus 20. Jose, do you have 17 bets this week or what?
I have 11, but we don't have to count the OU ones because those are like automatic. I'll always take Oklahoma to cover and the over.
Okay. So my first bet, Kansas, Texas. Give me the Jayhawks plus 16.5, rolling into Austin. Kansas is 4-0, so is Texas. Kansas is a better team than people think they are. I don't necessarily think Kansas wins this game. 16.5 points is a lot. I've watched Texas lose at home against Kansas not so long ago.
I'm with you there. And this, if anything, this is a more dangerous spot for Texas than the Iowa State is for Oklahoma, because Kansas does look like a good team, and even when they weren't a good team, they were beating up on Texas. So if Texas isn't taking this team seriously, this is a big upset spot for them.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm going to go my first one, this Utah-Oregon State game. I think it's one of the most interesting games of the weekend. I don't think it's a great weekend of college football. Utah is currently a dog on the road at Utah. They're the number 10 team in the country, though, are the Utes. Oregon State, 3-1. They look better than they were last year. DJ Uiagalelei is playing better than he did at Clemson, which I think poses another question because he's looking pretty sound at Oregon State. Cade Klubnik is not looking very good at Clemson. DJ Uiagalelei was not very good at Clemson. Maybe it's something in the Clemson coaching water there for 5-star quarterbacks that it doesn't work out there for them because it appears to be working for DJ. All that being said, I'm going to pick Utah plus 3 with or without Cam Rising. I like this Utah team. I think they're sound. I think they are going to beat Oregon State.
All right. Staying in the Pac-12, Colorado, USC. Give me the Buffaloes. After the Buffaloes went up to Eugene, Brandon and I were on the same side of the bet here, taking Oregon big. Colorado comes home, hosts USC. USC has to go to the Mile High City, in Boulder. Well, it's not, Denver, but in that area. Thin air. Deion Sanders kind of got embarrassed. People are counting him out. The hype train is finally derailed. 21.5 is a lot of points for a team that just beat Arizona State 42-28, and it was a lot closer than the score actually shows. Statistically speaking, Lincoln Riley and his coach teams, when they're heavily favored against Power 5 teams, is not great. And as far as covering goes. So give me the Buffaloes plus 21.5.
My next one, I'm actually going to go back to the Utah and Oregon State game. I'm on the other side of it. I think the fact that it's at Oregon State is going to be very helpful for them. And it's tough to bet on Utah as a road dog when they don't have Cam Rising. That quarterback they have has been good, but even against UCLA last weekend, they didn't look great. The offense hasn't really looked explosive like it did last year. with Cam. Maybe once Cam Rising is able to come back, they'll be a little bit better on the road. But it really seems like home has been where they've thrived the most, and it's going to be a hostile environment there.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to the Big Ten for this next one. I feel like this, if we did locks of the week, this would be my lock of the week because I don't know what I'm missing here. You go to Michigan, Nebraska. They have Michigan as a minus 17 right now. I think that should be a lot higher. That one's closer than us in Iowa State. And I think Nebraska is worse than Iowa State. I understand it's in Lincoln, but I think Michigan wins and wins big and wins easy and wins early. Give me Michigan minus 17.
All right. Notre Dame, Duke. I'm taking Duke plus 5.5. Duke's at home. Notre Dame's coming off an emotional loss against the Buckeyes. I think they come out sluggish. I think Duke is good enough. Riley Leonard is a good enough quarterback to beat Notre Dame. I would not be surprised if Duke wins outright. But give me the plus 5.5 just in case if it's a 3 or 4 point game.
My next one is Penn State at Northwestern. This year, I'm a Penn State believer. I think Drew Aller is a very good quarterback. I'm going to take the minus 27.5. Northwestern stinks. Penn State, good.
I'm going to go Colorado plus 21.5 too for my fourth one. I agree, Brum. I mean, and it can't get worse than what it was last week for them. They got embarrassed. Everybody saw it because everybody, whether you like them or not, everyone wanted to watch them for one side or the other. We wanted to watch them get their ass kicked. Some people wanted to watch them keep it going. This is the only week all season that I hope Colorado doesn't get their ass kicked. And I think that USC defense likes to give up points in bunches, and clearly they do. Arizona State had them on the ropes. I think Colorado covers.
Yep, and when you look at it, teams that get embarrassed typically bounce back pretty strong. Arkansas, Texas A&M, give me the Hogs plus 6.5. They competed with LSU in Death Valley. I think Sam Pittman's coaching for his job, and I think the seat is warming up, and he knows it. And obviously A&M and Arkansas is a good rivalry game, and I think the Hogs could win outright here.
Same, and I agree. Sam Pittman is coaching for his job right now, and Wegman just got hurt. He's out for the year. That offense is probably going to go back to looking like last year's. So
right.
Arkansas being a dog here at home seems crazy to me.
Well, it should be in Jerry's world, isn't it?
Oh, is it? My bad.
Yeah,
they are. I saw that they were the home team. I just didn't see that it was a neutral site. Either way, still like Arkansas.
Rock chalk for pick 5 with you, Brum. I think Kansas is going to play very well in their home away from home. They're very comfortable there. I think they can cover 16.5. They're a better team. I agree with everything you said. They're going to lose, but they're going to keep it close. Give me Kansas plus 16.5.
All right, and my last one, Kentucky and Florida. I think the Gators, it's basically a pick 'em. Give me the Gators plus 1. I think they're just the more talented team, and the Gators have looked better since they played Utah. And I just think Florida's the better team here.
How many more do you have, Brandon?
Just one.
Okay, well, I've got a few after this one. My next one is Houston at Texas Tech. I'm going to take Texas Tech is 8.5 point favorites. I'm going to take that. They just seem unstoppable at home. Seems like it's going to be the same trend as last year. Really good home team, really bad road team.
My last one, SEC battle, LSU Ole Miss. That's one of the better games of the weekend too. LSU minus 2.5. I'm going to take that. I think they will beat Ole Miss by at least a field goal.
All right, so to finish it off here, I've got 4 more. Michigan State at Iowa. My classic Iowa under. Always take it. Point total is 36.5. Michigan State absolutely stinks, but so does the Iowa offense. So, the defense might score a couple times. Notre Dame at Duke. I'm going to take the under there. I think because of the emotional loss, the defense is probably going to play a little bit harder. You got to prove that. Who knows? They might roll out there with 10 men for a few plays just so they can show they can actually make a couple stops. But I agree with you, Brum. Duke is a good team. I think they're getting a little bit slept on this year. I just think that both defenses will hold up against each other, and it'll be a pretty good battle there. Next one is South Carolina at Tennessee. I'm taking South Carolina plus 12.5. Tennessee has been good, but they haven't looked like they did last year, having some problems on the defensive side of the ball. And I think South Carolina is going to be able to keep it pretty close, if not win it outright at Tennessee. And then I'm going to take Washington at Arizona. Washington, to me, looks like the best team in the country. And it's going to be just an absolute ass whooping.
Jose loves the board. It doesn't matter.
It's a numbers game, boys. You guys play like you're scared.
He's never doesn't like. We pick 6 games a week. That's pretty solid.
You play like you're scared.
I mean,
it's not like you're losing real money. Yeah, but when I took the little bit of games, terrible week. A lot of games, decent weeks.
All right, we shall see.
I'm 500 picking 6 games a week.
Yeah, that is true.
Can't get off that 500 train, can you? Add a couple more, and maybe you do.
This is the week it ends. I feel
pick 8 or 9.
One way or the other.
Pick 8 or 9. Just saying.
Maybe next week I'll consider it.
All right. Well, that's all I've got. Brandon, do you have any video challenge?
Yeah, we'll make it a double part. Obviously, as there was a preview video. Give us your Iowa State OU thoughts. OU should win comfortably. That's what we all think. I think you guys will probably think the same. Should be 5-0 heading into Red River. That should be a 5-0 matchup. That'll be a. I think next week will be a lot of fun for us here on the show. And the second part, we'll do what we open the show with. Give us your thoughts on the Taylor Travis situation. Somebody else has got to be thinking about it. It is sweeping the nation. So drop your Taylor and Travis thoughts. And if you got like a cool nickname for them, because I haven't seen one yet. I'm trying to come up with one that maybe will blow up. But yeah, your Taylor and Trav thoughts.
Yeah. Well, maybe Travis will change his name to Travis Swift, just so he can get the.
He might as well.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll see. So, as far, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below, as our T-shirts are. Go check those things out. And remember, every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Central, we go live to talk football, Oklahoma football, and everything else, and just hang out. So, we'll catch you guys next time.